Hey, this is Kyle. So I'm going to be going over scripts, which are essentially functions in GML, but they work a little differently. And I'm going to show you how to pass in parameters, things like that. So let's see. Let's start off here. Let's create an entirely new workspace here. Let's close all of this. Let's make a new object called controller. So this is where you're going to learn about the controller object, where it's this behind the scenes um, controller. So it kind of holds your global variables, a lot of your global lists. It's like it pulls the strings because you don't want any logic bound to a bunch of objects that may or may not, be getting destroyed here and there, and their entire existence is circumstantial. While a controller will always be there. It will always be in the background. It'll always be orchestrating the game. I don't even assign it a sprite because it just kind of floats there in the background and pulls the strings of a lot of the logic. So we're going to make an object controller, and we're going to replicate the how lists work. So how lists work in GML is you would do dslist create, and then you would hold that reference, and then you would do dslist add, and then you specify the list name, and then you can give an infinite amount of optional parameters, which are things that you want to stick in the list. And so we're going to be kind of covering this whole how scripts take in arguments, as well as having an indeterminate amount of parameters. So what's going to happen here is let's go to our objects. Let's do so let's say how many numbers to grab equals I random range. So what's going to do is I give it, let's say 0. So what that's doing is the I stands for integer, so it's going to randomly grab me an integer between 0 and 100. That's how many numbers. And then we're going to write a for loop here. So for however many numbers we're going to grab, we are going to, let's see here. Oh, let's do something basic first. So let's actually say let's say my health equals 1000. And then let's say we'll do a very basic script here. We'll just say we'll make a new script called kind of a long script name, but whatever. So subtract from my health. So we're going to say, what's the first parameter that's passed in? We'll say, let's see. So you would, what you should do is you should put a triple slash, and then you should say subtract from my health, and then you would say the thing you want your health from, and then the points that you want to subtract. So that's kind of like how you define it here, and the reason why is because later when you come down here and you are actually calling the script, when you look inside, it should, let's see, it should specify, let's see if you have to do something else first, hang on. Yeah, see, so now when you type, so you should always put these headers where you have the function name and then the parameters and then you have @param and then the name of the parameters. It's just so that when later on when someone is calling it and they don't want to have to go to the function to see how it necessarily works, you come to where you're using it, and while you're typing it up, if you look in here, it shows you everything down here, like as a little shorthand. So you can see like, okay, well, what thing am I decreasing points from? Myself. And then how many points are we doing it? Or how many points are we taking away? Let's go ahead and make this a variable. Let's say max points per reduction equals 10. And then we're going to subtract I random range between 0 and max points per reduction. Oh, it also has autocomplete. So as soon as you start typing a variable, it's going to suggest a variable name you have, and then you can just press enter, and it will complete the thing for you. So let's just say that's let's see here. Why does it not like that? Oh yeah. So okay. So what did it say? Okay. So now what's happening is how you actually read them in is you would say thing. Well, so these don't actually have to match what you use. So the thing that we're passing in, this is only for the notation from where they're calling it from. So like while they're punching it up elsewhere, they can see that you're mentioning thing. But we could call it, the thing, or the loser for whoever's losing points or something like that. I don't know, but you can just call it thing. So what you would do is arguments are passed in as an array. So you could say the thing is argument 0 and then points equals argument 1. So yeah. So there's another thing I'm trying to figure out how to work it in. It's called argument count. And so like the argument count for this would actually return 2 because we're passing in 2 arguments. It's like the length, it's pretty much the length of the argument array. So later on you would have it where, like, I don't know, let's say we were recreating the list function, and argument 0 was the name of the list, and then argument 1 through x were the things you want to append to the list. You would say like counter equals 1, and then you would say while counter is less than argument count, you would say append argument counter, and then you see what I mean? So that's like pseudocode. So it would be something like that. So what happened is you would go ahead and set your counter to skip past the thing, and then now just from argument 1 to x is something that you would append. And so like while your counter is less than the argument count, you would increment from the first thing you want to append to the last thing you want to append, and then you would append. So you would index into the argument, grab that thing, and then append it. Or like something like that. My list.append. That's not even the real syntax for it in GML, but and then you'd increment your counter. So that's the whole thing for if you had theoretically like an indeterminate amount of arguments. I can't think of an example right now, but yeah. So as for what I was saying here, and then you would say thing.health minus equal points. Yeah, and that's our basic little script. And then here you can just say, hopefully it'll fix that. Why is it? How many does it still think we need? Let's just run that and see if that would even compile. Oh yeah. Is it my health? Yeah, because it tries to make health a keyword, but I don't like to use it. Think dot my health. Yeah, okay, so it works. I don't know why that error is showing up. It sometimes while it scans to see what issues you have, it's incorrect. So so I could just have the controller draw. Let's just do coordinates 30, 30. That's kind of hard coded, but whatever. Oh, my bad. Could actually throw the controller in here. Let's make sure the text color is black. Does it draw set color? Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay. Okay, so there we go, 655. So I thought it would have been a lot lower. So what would be happening here is it sets its health to 1,000, and then, oh, that's the maximum. Okay, so the max is that if it happened to pick 100 numbers and all of them happened to reduce it by 10, then we could reduce the whole health. But yeah, so on average it should reduce. So half of that and then half of that. So 5 times 50, 250. So it should have been around 750 on average. And it was 655. Oh, that's not bad. So we were close. Let's run that again. Oh yeah, I forgot. So there's also another concept of like seeding and randomization and stuff. So random truly isn't random. Just so you can test how your random functions work and everything. Every time you run the game, it uses the same seed to generate the random numbers, so it's not actually random. But you could do like, I think it's, if you really wanted to. So this is how you can like generate a new. I think it could be. So you set it to equal a new random. So yeah, so you set the global seed to be a new random seed. Oh, never mind. I was just setting the seed to what it was, but I think randomizes the function to create a new just to create a new seed entirely. Yeah, so it's there we go. That and that's on the upper end of what. So if you did this like 10,000 times, it would average to about 750. Yeah, something like that. So the whole point is that it would have been a lot easier, obviously, to just say, to just comment that out and then say my health, minus equals, and then do this whole irandom range thing. But just for the sake of showing a function or a script, we created one, and so you pass them in as like an array, and you index into them to grab them. And you see how it's all by reference. So although this is all local, this is all in a function, you passed it in by reference. So even though it's a local function, you still are addressing that one specific controller that was passed in. So yeah, so that's scripts, pretty much functions. They're not too complicated. They're about code reusability once again. That's an overarching concept that we're trying to really emphasize. So cool. Yeah, thanks for watching.